Greetings and welcome to another edition of Fill Your Own Void, the podcast. Again, it's Fill Your Own Void, the podcast with Chuck Rose, where we will be discussing topics that's near and dear to you and yours, as well as topics that's near and dear to me and mine. First, let me introduce myself as I usually do. For those of you who don't know me, and for those of you who know me, I'm Chuck Rose, and I'm the author of Personally Improving Mental Performance, as well as Access to Success. And I'll be your partner on our journey to becoming our own life coaches and navigating our path to enlightenment and increased quality of life. We started this particular podcast series, and now we're on podcast number 12. Thank you for the following. With the baseline questions for those of you who are just joining for the first time, we ask the question, are you getting what you want out of life? Are you currently living the life or quality of life that you desire, deserve, and dream about? If not, hopefully this podcast will help you get there. And if you are, we invited you to call in, text, email, fillyourownvoid@gmail.com. Those facts from the field and those best practices that allow you to flow through life with that calm, cheerful assurance that you do. We want to do the same thing. And again, if you're not, hopefully this podcast will help you do just that. Now, this is not just a life coaching, self-motivating, speaking type, me speaking at you about the book's curriculum and the topics and chapters. This is our podcast, as I've talked about, because we're going to be partners becoming our own life coaches. We talked about life coaches in the past. Those are those folks that don't need other people to tell them what to do. Try this, eat this, do this. No. They don't even need life coaches to call them and tell them what to do. They motivate themselves, and that's what we're going to do. We want to calibrate across 100, across all endowments. You can follow us on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. You can follow us on the YouTube channel. All you have to do is search Fill Your Own Void or search Chuck Rose. And again, all endowments is what we're going to be talking about: mind, body, spirit, as well as the other disciplines that we enjoy: sport, fitness, finance, philosophy, self-help, and more importantly, again, the topics that you send in at fillyourownvoid@gmail.com: parental, marital, financial, physical, emotional, spiritual. We want to calibrate across 100, or at 100 across all of these endowments, because he who knows himself is enlightened, and he who knows others is clever. Because even those folks that call me up and say, Chuck, I got this thing licked, I'm winning at the game of life, it may be only on one endowment. Again, we want to calibrate across 100 on all of these endowments. So we've had on this particular podcast over the course of the last 11, Heisman Trophy winner Ron Dayne, the Yogi Carmen Dayne, the survivor Andre Thomas. Please, folks, continue to follow their body of work. And today's topic is practice what you preach and finish what you start. Again, I'm going to repeat that for those of you in the back room and in the top of the stands. Practice what you preach and finish what you start. I must admit, I do suffer from this as well. This factor is one of the steps that I personally struggle with. Like I said, it's an uncontrollable variable of life. You get so sidetracked and forced, you to just like compromise your integrity and, becoming hypocritical about what we discussed, like even last week with birds of a feather flock together. But tomorrow is the great equalizer. Do know, again, that top 5% does not have any more hours in the day that you and I do. We all have the same 24 hours of a day, but the quality of life is based on what you do with yours. The players in the game of life and the highly successful top 5% make it look like they got 48, but they only have the same 24. So the highly successful, folks, again, they maximize their day and they develop all the endowments: mind, body, spirit, and they do it in balance. So this means not taking the bulk of your day and quality time on non-productive activities like leisure, excessive leisure. You want to leisure, you want to take your time and enjoy yourself, vacate TV and social media network. And this is crazy. I see it all the time. You're in a restaurant, you're in your car. Just look up, look at that beautiful screen of a sky and enjoy those things that's surrounding you. And know that who could do only that but Most High. But no, we are in our phones and doing our thing and losing quality time where we can be enjoying many, many other things. So let's talk about this thing. These activities that you do in excess will make you lose time. And this is what make us less productive and less focused. So, serious about if you're serious about increasing your quality of life, you need to practice the principles and finish what you start. Again, I am going to talk a little bit about when I wrote this particular chapter in the book Who's Pimpin' Who. And I talked about, I must admit, like I said before, this is one of the things that I struggle with most. I preach these powerful principles throughout our podcast series. Again, this is ours, not mine. But yet, I find them not to be as efficacious as I even talk about them. And I will regret. It's all based on my implementation. But I will say, I'm not in denial. I do know that tomorrow is a new day. And yesterday really did end last night. You too will find yourself excited about the fruit and the practice of these principles that you're hearing and what you're talking about and what we're sharing on this podcast, but won't bear fruit, until you actually implement. All right. So, you will find also that you'll have all of these interrupters that will, hinder you and your goals on finishing what you've started, which is your journey to improve performance. So I suggest that you build like a time matrix. If you can't just control your mind and your body and your spirit, there's a time matrix that can help you do just that. It'll help you focus on what's most important regarding your personal improvement. So it will help you better understand, what you're practicing and what you're preaching and what you're not doing efficiently. So there's a matrix that I talked about in the book, and it's urgent and not urgent, and then it's important and it's not important. And in the quadrant 1 is necessary. These are the things you got to do. Quadrant 2 is productive. So then that's above the line. Then below the line, you got those urgent but not important. Those are deception things. Those people that when you look at the phone, you're like, oh my God, I got to take this call, but I don't want to. Then, oh my gosh, on the bottom right-hand side of that quadrant is not important and not urgent. Sad thing of it is, we spend most of our time there. So you need to really, really let that thing go. So the parent principle of this thing that fathered the book is finish what you start. So I recall sharing, the fact that I was writing this book and I was starting this book, years ago with a friend of mine. And I was amazed that when I told him about it, he went on to tell me, oh yeah, you shared the title and concept with me years ago, about 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, due to the lack of my immediate follow through though, I had forgotten. I had shared my literary goals with him. And he said, well, I did, Chuck, you've been talking about this thing for a while. I didn't realize I had been sitting on this jewel for all of these years. So that time metrics actually really, really helped me achieve it. You can do the same thing. And I challenge you to do just that. So again, the principle of today is practice what you preach and finish what you start. So, folks, we've had a great journey here thus far. We're going to continue to keep this thing going. Please support, like, share, follow. We've talked about breaking the generational curse. Tomorrow's a new day. Yesterday really did end last night. The game of life has no gender or ethnicity. You're already the CEO of You Incorporated. You better watch your bottom line. Transforming, not conforming. Birds of a feather flock together. Last week. Now, practice what you preach and finish what you start, because tomorrow is a new day. Yesterday and tonight really ends tonight. So with that being said, I'm going to leave you with this quote of the day. An opportunity does not knock on your door, but it's a byproduct, however, of an individual's prepared and premeditated action. Head for the stars. I will meet you there.